Yeah, we're on our way to the church now. They want a little bit of history of the church. When I came in 2004. Oh, hey, this is Brittany now. Yeah, Brittany, I'm on my way. I'll be there just in a minute. I'm in the parking lot, and I'll get with John and we'll do this history of the church. Okay, thanks. Bye. Hey, Brittany, how you doing?
Hey, Pastor Dick, how are you?
Doing good. Hey, where are we shooting this?
Right over here. We're gonna shoot right in here by the fireplace.
Oh, super.
Yeah. Well, have a seat. I'm gonna go get some real quick.
Great. Well, what do we got here? Huh? History of Treasure Lake Church in the good old days.
That was the first ground break.
Yeah, right there. That's my uncle.
Oh.
And his wife were both charter members of the church back in the day. That's a cross that we never could get rid of because Lois Collier, pastors before me, tried to hide it. She would always find it and bring it back. It's just an old 2 sticks nailed together. And
I was going to say, is that the one up top?
Yeah. Could never get rid of it. She'd find it and all. But yeah, they built this church. They did it by hand. They did all the work. They come in on the weekends, and it was a camp ministry to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the people, like my aunt and uncle, they moved in and built a house here, and some of the others. But they'd work on the church every weekend, and they built this church, the Little Brown Church, they called it, affectionately. It took them quite a while. They did it because they didn't have a whole lot of money, and so they just had to kind of do the best they could. That took them, cost $36,000. Actually heard $26,000 from Charlotte Pichon, but Bill Foltz, who designed.
Bill Foltz?
Yeah, that is Bill Foltz.
Okay.
And he actually was a architect and designed the church, the Little Brown Church, for him. And he said it cost $36,000. So somewhere between 26 and 36. They did everything by hand. Story is that whenever we didn't have a Lowe's back then, but when a building supply company would have something on sale, they'd call these guys and they'd run down and get it. Broken pieces of drywall, ceiling tiles, whatever, to try to get it done as inexpensive as they could. And lots of great stories about it.
So can you tell me a little bit of how you became the pastor of Treasure Lake Church? Yeah,
it's kind of I'll make it a short story, but I moved back to Du Bois in 1996. I had been a pastor in Virginia for 19 and a half years. As a pastor and as a co-pastor, as a youth pastor, I had all the different roles. Went to school at Liberty. Just got pretty well burned out, and I decided just to come back here and take over my dad's courier business, which was just a little business. He wanted to retire from it. And so I came back, took it over, and did nothing but teach Sunday school for about 8 years, 5 years at the Christian Missionary Alliance Church. And that was okay. It was kind of fulfilling. It wasn't quite what I thought God had called me to do. I felt like God had always called me to be a pastor, but for some reason I was on the shelf and wasn't able to minister. I was asked by Dave Lukehart to come and speak here one Sunday at the Little Brown Church. There was about 15, 20 people here. Their pastor, Jack Martin, had put in his papers to retire, and they were looking for a minister. I spoke actually as a guest, and then they asked me to come back and speak again. And that time I brought my wife, and we were sitting there, and she just was absolutely adamant that we did not want to be a part of the ministry again. And I said, well, I'm not planning on it. At that time, Dave Lukehart come up and asked me if I'd come to a meeting after church, because they were going to interview me for the position of the pastor. And I just told him I wasn't interested. I was pretty abrupt with him by emphasizing that I didn't want the job. And my wife said to me, that was really kind of rude of you. And I said, really? I didn't mean it to be. I just tried to emphasize I was not interested. Ironically, they called me about a month later and said, I just want to let you know that we've hired you as our pastor. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I need you to come to my house. All the board's going to show up, which was 9 people. And we met over at his house. And I said, I don't know how to tell you all this, but I don't want to be your pastor. And And Dave said, well, if you don't, then we're going to have to shut the church down. And I said, well, two things. I'll serve for 6 months, and I'll only serve if you're willing to do what God wants us to do. And he said, what's that mean? I said, I got no idea, but we'll figure it out. And that's the beginning of the journey. I started August 1st, 2004. And that's how I got here. Was planning on staying literally for 6 months, ended up staying for 16 years. And retired 2.5 years ago and turned the reins over to David and Sherry again, and they're doing an outstanding job here. So that's my story.
Hey there, church family. I'm really enjoying our look back over the past 50 years. God has guided our church and blessed his people through it. I'm so glad that I get to be part of it. Monday, June 27th, our worship teams and tech teams are invited to a 6 o'clock meeting with Maddie. The meeting will focus on new resources for working together and bringing the very best worship to everyone at church. That's this coming Monday at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary. The 4th of July weekend is just around the corner, and the fireworks will light up the sky over Treasure Lake on Saturday, July 2nd. Would you like to enjoy the celebration with some of your church family? A group of us will be gathering down by the Lakeview Lodge close to the gazebo. The fireworks will probably start after 9:30 p.m., so bring a lawn chair, a jacket, and join us as we celebrate our nation's birth. We'll be collecting clothes for a clothing drive from now until July 15th. We are looking for new or gently used clothing for all sizes and for all ages. The clothing will be distributed to those in need in this community for the All Churches Clothing Drive on Saturday, July 16th at the DuBois City Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please drop off your donations in the conference room of the church, and if you have any questions or would like to volunteer on that Saturday, please contact John Patricelli. Now that the sun is hot and school is out, Del Grosso's is calling. The young families of the church are going to slip and slide their way into a wonderful day on Saturday, August 13th. The church is going to benefit from a very nice discount, so please sign up and let us know what questions you have. To wrap up things, Pastor Dave has an announcement.